Yes, I'm Laura Dern, and I am officially in the closet. This gives me so much joy, is my happy place in life, and I am so tortured that I only have so much time to talk about everything I'm seeing. I'm going to try to highlight master performances that have moved and inspired me, and in some cases, by a filmmaker where it's a couple of films. We have to talk about Robert Altman if we're going to talk about acting. He is the gift to actors to find truth in everyday circumstance. I had the privilege of working with him, and Three Women is such an influence on me. These performances are so incredible. Just staring at Sissy Spacek's face makes me want to cry. Also, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, Warren Beatty and Julie Christie. But also, while we're at it, Tanner 88, I was just thinking how many series and limited series watched this to discover the intimacy of storytelling by being on the road with a political candidate in the way he did his handheld work, and the performances are incredible, like everything he gave us. So I want to talk about some actresses that have inspired and moved me so much. So we have to start with Bergman. The first movie I saw in the theater with my grandmother of Bergman was she took me to see Fanny and Alexander. And I will never forget being such a little girl and saying to my grandma, I've seen the color red for the first time. Everything was so vibrant and so powerful and taught me about life and grief and love. And therefore you have to talk about Persona. Two of the greatest female performances of all time. I talk about these performances. I think and dream on them. And a great hero of mine and a deep hero of my mother's is Simone Signoret. And you have Diabolique. Please see this film. See all her work. Every cell is true. And since we're talking about French actresses and we've covered Simone Signoret, let's talk about Deneuve, who all of us want to be when we grow up. That cool, that amazing, but let's talk about her masterful performances, like in The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, which has influenced, obviously, so many films. The vulnerability of her, all while in song, is just extraordinary, only opposed with Belle de Jour. Oh my God, this film. She brings innocence to brokenness, and she brings innocence to sexuality in a way I had never seen, and was such an influence on me as an actor. If we want to talk about geniuses in performance, think about the gift that Jimmy Stewart gave us. We always think about him in It's a Wonderful Life, and we talk about his purity and being all-American. But in Philadelphia Story, the greatest screenplay, I don't even understand this writing. It's so brilliant. Like, it's insane. Every performance is perfect, and it's so radical, slightly mean-spirited. Everybody's a mess. Like, frankly, a total shit show. Jimmy Stewart is like raw and sassy and amoral at moments, and yet we fall madly in love with him, like everything he ever gave us. Jimmy Stewart is such a hero, and I speak for my beloved David Lynch, who loved Jimmy Stewart so much, and we talked about him so much. David Lynch, The Art Life, which I'm staring at right here, which I started to watch and had to stop because I wasn't quite ready, but I cannot wait for, and Inland Empire, which speaks to his radical reinvention of cinema. He wanted to use the crudest camera possible, so he grabbed a Sony camcorder and a couple $100,000, and for 3 years we made this movie. At times, just the two of us, with a camcorder in Poland and France and LA. And it was one of the great gifts of my life. And thanks to you all, I also have the gift of so much behind the scenes and doc discoveries about David at work that will be amazing to get to get to be back in those spaces with him. So I really thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope everyone will see his bravery in this and, of course, all his films. You guys have Smooth Talk on Blu-ray, and I made this movie when I was 15 years old, directed by Joyce Chopra, an amazing filmmaker, with Treat Williams, who's so brilliant in this movie, and I think a fascinating movie. I'm really, really lucky to be part of it. I think, my first lead in a film. Let me talk about a filmmaker that means the world to me as an actor, to get me through life, because he is the person that can make me laugh every time, but just the acting is always perfect. The gift that is Albert Brooks. Real Life, the mockumentary, which, I mean, honestly, I literally want to do lines from it. Nothing is a greater gift except top 5 favorite movies of my life. Defending Your Life. When I told Meryl Streep, like, this may be my favorite performance of hers, because she's so perfect and he's so perfect. And it's the most romantic film. It makes us reconsider our lives. And it's the funniest idea of what happens to us when we go. Albert Brooks, I love you. Thank you for everything you give us. If I'm talking about actresses, I have to talk about Giulietta Messina. And I see this extraordinary gift of Fellini, but within Fellini's work, with his amazing wife and muse, we have La Strada, one of the most important female performances of all time. I was in a restaurant in Rome when I was 19, and they walked into the restaurant, and he walked in, and they sat down, and as they sat down, she walked in, and everyone in the restaurant started clapping. And he sat down and he asked her to stand, and we gave her a standing ovation in the restaurant. It was like one of my favorite memories to just be part of that. I asked when I came in if you had Scorsese's shorts. The Big Shave is such a brilliant and radical short in his political subversion and all that he has always said with his films. And of course, the performances mean everything. But if you want to see great actresses, soon, Criterion is bringing us Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, working on it now with Scorsese. It's the best female performances ever, including my beloved mom, Diane Ladd. So everyone must see Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, one of my favorite Scorsese films. Okay, guys, I heard that sometimes they let people close their eyes and do a random pick. So I'm gonna do it. Irene Dunne. My grandmother loved Irene Dunne, and I chose The Awful Truth with Irene Dunne and Cary Grant. And screwball comedies have meant everything to me, as you heard. Amazing that I got to choose this. And I got a Spike Lee movie, and this makes me so happy. This, we all know, is a masterpiece in acting, a masterpiece in filmmaking. And like all the filmmakers I've talked about, if you want to see the essence of culture and community and truth, like Bob Altman, Spike Lee, I think, is the comparable master of creating the world of truth in space like no other filmmaker. He is such a genius. I just found, give me a break, I'm gonna do it really quick, Night of the Hunter. It is absurdist. It's incredible. And my godmother, Shelley Winters, is so incredible in this movie, as she is in every performance. But you must see this movie. If you have not seen all of Bogdanovich's work, you better. And you better read everything he gave us on film and about other filmmakers, including John Ford, the greatest teacher about film. And The Last Picture Show is one of my favorite movies of all time. Such incredible performances. And then, of course, I found this. Last of the bonus round. Okay, first of all, it has The King of Marvin Gardens. I love this movie so much. My dad, Bruce Dern, his best buddy, Jack Nicholson. The acting is incredible. Thank you, Bob Rafelson, for this incredible movie. The shot of those two men on horseback on the beach is one of my favorite things I've ever seen in a movie. But also, didn't know, Drive, he said, directed by Jack Nicholson, starring Bruce Dern. Two friends making a movie together, and it's so raw and beautiful. And if you love basketball, you have to see the movie. But if you love Jack Nicholson and if you love Bruce Dern, I happen to, also an amazing movie. This is an incredible series. I can't believe this. Anyway, you get the point. It's my bonus round. They're going to kick me out of here. This is amazing too.